My name is Parker.
I'm Mike.
I'm Seid.
This is the Try Hard podcast. I don't know how to intro it. Hi, guys. I'm Ryan. I am the owner of the Ryan Triathlon Instagram page. I have raced 70.3 Chattanooga this past weekend, and I'm coming on the podcast to talk about my experience.
There we go. Way to intro it, Ryan. It only took him one or
Thank
two
you.
tries. But yes, welcome back, everyone. As you guys saw or heard, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like my mom, we actually have 10 subscribers now. You know, a few people like watching us. Although this episode is going to be very visually entertaining. Two of us are on the bike, not me, but Mike and Seid are on the bike. And yes, we have a very special guest and good friend Ryan joining us for a little post-race recap episode. As you guys heard, Ryan raced 70.3 Chattanooga. Ryan, how'd it go?
It was really good. The condition starting off was pretty brutal. It's pretty hot and humid. So, yeah, definitely have not had too much heat practice or heat prep going into the race. So that was kind of brutal dealing with that. But
You were hitting
yeah,
the
so
sauna pretty
overall,
regularly.
yeah, but it's just so different. Like when it's actually, hot. But yeah, it was my first 70.3 in about a year and a half. The last one I did was at Augusta in 2022. So yeah, it's been a minute since I've, done the 70.3, and I ended up with a 5-minute PR on a lot harder course. I'll talk about that more later, but yeah, so it was a good day for me.
So I thought we'd just kind of talk about your training leading up to it, maybe some of your favorite workouts. I know you're coached by Coach Alice, correct?
Yeah.
And she also raced Augusta, correct?
Yeah, she raced
Yes,
Chattanooga.
Chattanooga.
Yeah, she did. So yeah, it was nice to see her. I haven't seen her since we all did Florida. And we actually got a picture together this time because we have 0 pictures together. So now we have one.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
but yeah, I mean, it's always good to race with your coach. Mike and Seid, you guys both know racing at Florida with Parker, and at least being together there for Texas, I'm sure was pretty special. So
Yeah, Mike hasn't raced with Parker yet, right? As like
Uh,
him being your coach.
Technically, I have, but not with him as my coach. It was at the World Championship when he cruised by me mile 30 on the bike. And I was like, I need that guy to coach me.
Wait, did
Mike, do
go
Mike,
ahead?
do you remember Parker passing you on the bike, or like just the whoosh of him
Oh yeah,
vividly?
literally, because I knew that I would probably have a faster swim split, which I did.
That's actually what I was
So,
going to ask you. Do you remember what your swim was compared to mine?
yeah, I think I did like a 33 or 34, and yours was like 37, 36.
I'm not a bad swimmer. I don't think I've ever swam that bad at it. I'll have to
I
double
don't
check.
know. Maybe I swam 31. I don't know. I just remember I had like close to a 3-minute goal, and you erased that in 30 minutes.
Huh. Yeah, I'm checking right now to see. Well, is 70.3 World Champs 2022?
Yeah, that was the year it was super cold.
Let's see. So what was my swim there? It was, if this loads. Yeah, 34:46.
Okay, so I think I might
Not
have done
no
a 30.
35.
I might have done a 31 or something. I think so. Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to throw you under the bus like that.
Actually, I think that swim was slower because that was the second time I raced 70 at St. George. They actually swam slower that time than the year before. Yeah, which was interesting, but it is what it is. So anyway, Ryan, back to you. So yeah, how are you feeling? What were some of your favorite workouts leading up to Chattanooga? Do you remember anything? Or
Oh
I guess
gosh,
were you
yeah.
expecting to set a PR?
Sorry.
Were you expecting to set a PR?
Yeah, yeah. That was definitely the goal. But yeah, so favorite workouts, I'll just do one from each discipline. So swimming, I think the 10 by 1000 or 10 by 100 best
I
possible
said.
average. Jesus. Yeah, no, 10 by 100 definitely takes the cake there. On a 130 base, I was hitting 110s and 109s. That was the hardest, but my favorite. Yeah. So
Did you see
that one
my
was pretty
swim this
cool.
morning?
No, I didn't see the set, but I saw you swam.
You should
He
look.
only
What was
he
it?
only looks at the swims of people faster than him.
Yeah, I'm like, no. I look at everybody swim. What was it? 10 by 100.
Yeah, you should take a look after the podcast.
Okay, I will. You better not be faster than me. Yeah. Um. Oh, okay, and then bike. Gosh. I had a 2 by 30 minute. It was like my last kind of long bike. I did like 3 hours, I think it was. It was 2 by 30 minutes at race power. And that one just really increased my confidence for holding that power on race day. Um, so yeah, I really like that one as well. And my legs felt good. So big confidence booster there. And running, gosh. Um, Probably my last like long run workout as well. It was 14 miles. It was 2 mile warm up, 4 miles at race effort or race heart rate, 2 miles easy, 3 miles at race heart rate, 1 mile easy, and then finishing off with 2 miles at race heart rate. And that one was definitely the most brutal run I've done or I did in prep, but the most enjoyable after the fact. So
So what heart rate are you targeting on that goal of 70.3 heart rate?
yeah, so the game plan was for the first like 8-ish miles to hold in between 165 to 170. Just like don't let my heart rate go over 170.
Wow.
So that was yeah for the first like 8 miles, and then the last 5 miles, push it if I can. But with the, I'll talk about it a little bit more later. But with the hills and humidity, and I got kind of thrown off a little bit. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's totally to be expected.
yeah, but yeah, that was the goal though. So
And did you hold that same heart rate on the bike? Because usually I try to hold a relatively similar heart rate on the bike and then on the run as well.
yeah, so I was expecting to hold like a little bit lower
Yeah.
on the bike, but just with the how humid it was, my heart rate was not dropping for the first like 90 minutes. So I was sitting at like around like 170 for the first 90 minutes, and then finally it started going down. So I think average was 164. So almost about exactly the same as it ended up being on the run, which is pretty cool, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. So, oh, and then I guess this was the first race I did going to it alone. Like none of my family was there. Had a couple friends through MBDM and that I knew through Instagram who were racing, but yeah, like first time booking the Airbnb all by myself, which was scary.
And did you fly
Uh,
there?
no, it's only
Okay.
about like 2.5 hours away from where I live currently. So yeah, just drove up on Friday night. The race was Saturday or Sunday. So yeah.
Nice. How was that like being by yourself? How was that race morning with like trying to organize your gear and then leave it? So like, did you use the morning gear bags or did you like go back to your car and put things away? Because I've also like never gone to a race alone, but I will be
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah. Well, I packed up everything like the night before because my Airbnb checkout was at 12 on race day or at noon. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'll finish before there, but I don't think I'll have time to like come back to Airbnb and get everything ready. So actually like driving to the race at like 4:30 in the morning, I had my car loaded. So
Nice.
yeah. But I made the mistake. Definitely a rookie error on my part. my Airbnb didn't have a kitchen, and I just completely
what?
overlooked that. Yeah. So, my mom asked me like earlier in the week, she's like, can I see like what it looks like? And I was showing her pictures. And she was like, where's the kitchen? I was like, well, that's why it was so cheap. Yeah, so I ended up bringing my air fryer and rice cooker. Um, and so I
Yeah.
just had chicken and rice, and a pizza, um, from Domino's, for all my pre-race nutrition or pre-race meals. So,
Was it like an
it's not too
apartment
di
or what? How does it like? What
yeah, so it was kind
was
of
it a
yeah,
bedroom?
yeah, it was like the downstairs level of a house.
Oh,
So it's just like room, bathroom, and then like a lobby area. So that's where I kept all my. It was actually pretty nice, other than the fact that it didn't have a kitchen. But
Wow. They
yeah,
they must have known you were just gonna cook on race day.
ew, yeah. Sorry, I don't like puns.
Hey, Ryan, so I saw you did an Olympic before too. Do you think that helped in your preparation for the 7.3 or?
Yeah, so the Olympic was kind of similar to the course. At least the bike was. So that was good to practice, how those hills feel at the higher power and holding arrow. And then, yeah, the swim was completely different and the run was less hilly. But yeah, definitely good practice on the bike there. I'm a big fan of throwing in like a smaller, not a serious race before an A race. So just to, shake off the cobwebs. And it's the first race of the season. So yeah, I got second at that one.
yeah, I was gonna say it was the Peachtree one, right?
Yeah, yeah, because there
Did
was
you
like
get a
no
PR there
competition.
too?
No, because it was like rainy and wet. The bike course,
Oh,
like some dude like ate it right behind me. I was like,
ooh.
okay, I'm taking all the corners like at 2 miles an hour, and I stayed upright. So yeah, um, yeah. So I guess I can talk a little bit about pre-race,
Yeah, take us
and
through
like
kind of
in
race one.
transition.
And actually, so did you like park near the transition the morning of, or how? Because I always give my stuff to my mom or my dad when I go to.
Yeah,
How do you do that?
yeah. So Chattanooga, it has free parking, free street parking on the weekends, which I found out, so that was hype. So I don't have to pay, like $20 to leave my car there. So I parked probably like I'd say maybe like a 7 to 8 minute walk away from transition. And I would just wanted to avoid, like fighting for a spot, like to start off my day. I hate doing that. So I just parked a little bit away and just walked there. Um, so yeah, it's not like the most like interesting story, but yeah, that's how I did it.
And did you put everything in morning clothes bag after, or what did you do with like your pump or did you bring a pump or?
Yeah, yeah, just in my or I had a handheld one with
Oh,
a meter on it. But yeah, I just put everything in my morning clothes bag. So yeah.
and what you have for
Nice.
breakfast?
Oof. So normally
Chicken and
I
rice.
would have had yeah, no. So I would have had like oatmeal and a banana, but I didn't have a microwave either. So that was the most annoying part. But yeah, so no oatmeal, but I had a bagel, banana, Cliff Bar, or a bagel with peanut butter and a banana sliced up on top of it, um, and then a Cliff Bar. And I should not have added that peanut butter to it,
Why?
because so like I obviously like wanted those carbs. Oh, and then I also had a coffee. I'm not a big coffee fan, but I drink it to get the bowel system moving, and it was successful, thankfully. Clap for that. But as I was like waiting for the swim to start. I was talking with like some other MVDM athletes, Bobby, Heather, and David, and yeah, I was like burping peanut butter. I was like, oh no, like this isn't good. And the whole swim, I was just like burping too peanut butter, because I don't really have it too much. I know Parker, you're a big butter fan or nut butter fan, but yeah, not really me. So yeah, that was a lesson there. Do not have peanut butter race morning.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Um, and so I guess I'll just start. When I got to transition, I got there pretty early. Um, the race, started at like 7:03 for age groupers, and I got there at like 5 to transition. Just because I was alone. Just wanted to be there early, and we had to do the whole bus shuttle up to swim start because it's a downriver swim. So, yeah, just wanted to be there early. Had a decent amount of people come up to me, like transition or in transition, and talk to me, which was pretty interesting. And actually, I don't know what you call them, like the person next to you, your bib buddy, I guess.
Yeah, bit buddy.
Yeah, have you guys heard of that? It's a thing,
No.
apparently. Okay, whatever. We're gonna pretend it's a thing. So, yeah, she was like, "Are you an influencer or something?" And I was like, something like that. I just make videos I find funny and post them." And like 2 people like would come up to me like after and like take a picture with me or something. So that was pretty funny.
Do you want to shout anyone
But
out?
yeah.
Maybe they're listening.
Oh gosh. Too many names. I shout out to everybody who came up to me. How
There you
about
go.
that? But yeah, that was a pretty unique experience because it's happened before at races, but it was definitely more prevalent at this one. Um, so that was cool to see. Like I had a line of like 3 people waiting to take a picture with me. So
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, thank you if you came up to me. I really appreciated it. Anyway, so I got everything set up, and then loaded the bus and got to transition. There's a pretty long wait just because I got there like I'd say I think it was like 40 minutes before the age group start. So I was just chilling there. And yeah, so I was talking with Bobby, David, and Heather, and there was a big kind of just mass waiting to like get up to the front of the swim, and we were kind of off to the side, sitting in the grass, just chilling out. And that was my biggest mistake of the day is not getting up there at the front of the mass because I let probably like 200 people go or start the race in front of me. And so the whole entire swim, I was just passing people. And while it like felt good, I was like, oh, like I'm swimming pretty fast. It's actually not the fastest way. I probably did half of the swim with my head up out of the water, making sure I wasn't
Oh,
going straight into somebody. So yeah, that was like I knew that it was going to be a slower split for me, which kind of got me more kind of negative in my mind. But I was
I
like,
know how
we're
that
still
feels.
moving. Yeah. Um, yeah. So that was not fun. But then towards the end of the swim, I was like, okay, like there's 2 other legs completely different from swimming. Let's turn this race around. And I didn't look at my watch for like the splits or anything. I just didn't want to see it after the swim.
Good
Um,
call.
yeah. So I felt decent, but yeah, again, just like I sided every other stroke, and normally I wait like at least 5 to sight because normally I keep a pretty straight line regardless. But yeah, and then the downhill or downriver current was moving pretty fast. Like I'd tell that was moving pretty fast just because the buoys would just come at you so fast,
Hmm.
and so that was good. And I actually got kicked like in the jaw, which has never happened to me
Ooh.
before. Yeah, so it was like I like chomped my teeth so hard. I was like, thank goodness my tongue wasn't right there because it would have definitely been bleeding. So that was a first. And
Wow.
I didn't get mad, but I was like, like I wanted to go right at him, but I didn't. So
Were
oh
you
sorry.
happy with your time overall on the swim,
No.
like 27 something or no?
Yeah, it was 27. It was mid 27. I think I got ninth in the age group, which is my slowest age group split by far. Or like
Oh
ranking
wow.
wise, I think my lowest one before that was like fourth at Ironman Florida. And then overall, I was like 120 something. And normally I'm like top 50 at least. So yeah, definitely was not the swim I was training for, but yeah, just got to work with what you got on the day and the conditions. So yeah, I as soon as I got out of the water, I was like, all right, forget about that swim. Let's turn this race around, right? So they had wetsuit strippers too, which I didn't know about. And then so I made use of those or them. Thank you, volunteers. And then transition was kind of long. And it was just there's one part running from like the riverbank up to where all of the bikes were. It was just like straight uphill. And so my heart rate was like, I think like 187 at that point. So yeah, that was not fun. But anyway, got to transition or got to my bike, got everything on, my socks, shoes, helmet, sunglasses, and then grabbed my bike and headed out. And the bike, it's pretty rolling hills, or there's a lot of kind of rollers. And the first kind of the course is set up like you ride 11 miles out of town and then do a 34-mile loop and then 11 miles back in. And the first kind of 11 miles riding out, the road conditions were terrible. Just like crossing a bunch of train tracks, bottles just everywhere on the course, and just a lot of like potholes, everything like that. So, oh, and we were like super narrow. Like you could only pass one person at a time. It wasn't like open roads. So that was really annoying because you get stuck behind a big train and couldn't move. So that was really annoying. But once you got out past that, like kind of first 11 miles, it opened up. And yeah, just kind of rolling hills the whole time. So, and then the course, like the scenic part of it, it was so pretty. Just North Georgia mountains. It was really easy just to lose yourself just looking at the hills or the mountains. So yeah, definitely the most pretty bike course I've ever done, and I had a lot of fun during it. And then my goals for the bike, again, to hold that around like mid 160s heart rate and hold 220 watts on the bike, which I did perfectly, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah, or my normalized was 220 on the dot. So
There you go.
It's good.
yeah, I was really happy with that. But going out for the first half of the bike, it was just a lot of traffic, just because there's 3,200 something people that did the race. So really packed race. A lot of people doing it. So the bike is going to be pretty crowded. So just a lot of draft packs and just, you know, yeah, just couldn't really move too well in the beginning just because it was so crowded. There were a couple referees I saw giving people penalties. I didn't get one because I would sit at the very back of the group and just push like 180 watts, 12 meters back. And a referee actually said, "You're doing good. Keep it up," to me, because there was I was keeping the legal distance and like everybody else wasn't. So the people in front of me got penalties. The people behind me got penalties. And
Way to
yeah,
go.
I didn't. So I was like, let's go. Yeah. So
And how was how many
yeah.
grams of carbs per hour did you take?
Yeah, so I had 3.5 scoops of raw fuel and 2 bottles, and then so that's about like roughly like 80 to 85 grams of carbs in each bottle. And then I'd have a gel, a gel every 45 minutes. One of these guys.
Salted watermelon. I knew it was going to be a
Yeah.
salted watermelon.
Yeah. So I did one of those every 45. So roughly, I'd say about 105 to 110 grams of carbs per hour. And then I'd add 500 milligrams of pink Himalayan sea salt to each bottle. So, yeah, I don't know, about 1,500 milligrams of sodium, I'd say, per hour. So, yeah, the course again, rolling hills. I trained for that, so my legs were used to kind of pushing that power up those hills and then down into it. There's actually I'm not going to say names, but there is a professional athlete's spouse who was close to me on the bike, and they got a penalty for drafting too close behind me, and they also had no idea how to ride a bike. So they would surge probably like 400 watts up the hill, and then at the top of the hill, they would just stop pedaling and just let a gap open up to the rest of the pack in front of us. I was like, "What are you doing? Like, like hold the gap." He just whoops. They would just stop pedaling, and it was making me so mad. So yeah, that was really annoying. But I got rid of him after like mile 35 and kind of rode alone because everybody started going slower and I still felt amazing. So I just kept my pace and left the group finally. So yeah. And then the last like 5 miles of the bike, I'd say, just riding back into town, I came up on this group and it was at least like 30 people long. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to like make a move here. So I just held on to the back and pushing like 160 watts. So that was not fun, but we were still averaging like 23 miles an hour there. So I'll take it. Saving the legs for the run. I also noticed how hot it was getting on the run. The first part of the ride was pretty humid, but again, I'm used to that. But then the sun started coming through the clouds, and I was like, "Oh boy, it's getting a little toasty." So yeah, every aid station, I was just grabbing water and dumping it all over me to try and keep my core body temp down. And any other questions about the bike?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. Was that
Okay.
kind of what you're expecting? Do you think you could have pushed? Because I mean, it sounds like there was about quite a bit of drafting and whatnot. Not that you were, but you were in a pack. Do you think you could have pushed more
Yeah.
watts? Like, did you have the fitness? Do you think, or do you think 220 was a good target?
Yeah, I think like if there weren't all those people, I would have been closer to like 225 to 230. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that just because the run was pretty brutal. I'll get into that
Yeah.
now, I guess. Yeah, so hopped off the bike, got my shoes on, headed out. The first like maybe like 0.05 miles of the run is like a pretty sharp downhill running onto the riverbank. And then we're just greeted with this like massive uphill. And it was kind of one of those like false summits, I guess. It's like once you got to the top, it was like a mini flat part and then another huge uphill. And my coach Alice told me about it. She's like, "Do not take it out too fast on that because everybody does and dies." So yeah, made a mental note of that and didn't do that. My heart rate definitely got over 170 on that first hill, and that was like my limit. So it was already over 170, like 5 minutes into the run. So I was like, great, good start. But yeah, then the rest of the course was just kind of rollers, or a couple rollers, and then another steep hill that gashed my legs because this one was like maybe like 200 meters, but it was like it felt like 15%. Just like my cadence was like probably 300, or it felt like 300, but like my steps were like super tiny, choppy. Just trying to get up it. But yeah, so for training, again, I had a rough estimate of the pace, and me and Alice decided or thought it was going to look like between 720 to 730, just somewhere in that ballpark. So I wasn't looking at pace at all when I was running, just heart rate. And then, yeah, so I averaged or ended up averaging 7:38, I want to say, for the run. So it was a 140 half marathon, and that was a PR for a runoff or a 70.3 run. So that was cool on the most hilly course I've done as well. My right quad was kind of cramping a little bit. I don't really know what that was from. If it was from like a sodium issue or just over biking, I guess. But yeah, that was real. It'd come in like waves. So on the uphills, it would act up, but then on the downhills and flats, it was fine. So I don't know again what was up with that, but it was really annoying. Um, and then the heat definitely got to me towards because it's a 2 loop run course. So heat definitely got to me on that second loop. So I was just a zombie. I felt like for the last 4 miles. So yeah, I wanted to walk so bad all the time, but I never let myself walk. So that's always a win.
And did you do any hill workouts leading up to the race in training?
So Alice would give me some of my easier runs on hills, and longer runs, just to incorporate that stimulus because it is very different than running flat, obviously. So I'm glad I did that. I would have probably changed it from because I did a bunch of kind of longer, less or longer, more gradual hills, but I would have added some more kind of steep, punchy climbs that I didn't. I got to like mile like 12 and a half, and this was the first time I like looked at my overall pace to see what I was kind of estimating to hit, and I saw like 440 like 6 or something. So I was like, oh, I can get sub 450. So I knew I was gonna have to finish strong. So like the last, like quarter mile, I was like giving it everything, obviously like tunnel vision. And I was maybe going like 620 pace. But yeah, that was all I had. And yeah, just came onto the red carpet. I don't even remember the red carpet just because I was, tunnel vision and trying to get across the finish line. And I came in at 4:49, like 47. So I had it with a couple seconds to spare. But saying that your 70.3 PR is a 4:49 instead of a 4:50, I think just adds an extra level of something there. So it sounds a lot faster than it is, I think. So yeah. But then after the race, I was like dying because of that hard effort at the end. But we did it, so that's all that matters.
And how did you feel after this one compared to after Ironman Florida?
Oh, well, that last effort like zonked me. So I was pretty rough for like 5 minutes. There was like no finish line celebration at all.
No skipping up and down and
no screaming. Just stop my watch and try and recuperate. So yeah, like the finisher picks or finish picks or whatever it's called at the finish line. I'm just like dead, like no smile or anything. So yeah, maybe I won't go as hard next time for that last, at least the red carpet, so I can enjoy it a little bit more. But because I really don't remember it at all for this race. And then soreness wise, I definitely wasn't as sore as I was expecting to be. Like I'd say after Florida, I was like dead for like 5 days, and like it was like maybe like my legs are coming back around now already, and it's only been 3 days. So yeah, definitely feeling a lot better than I did after Florida full. So yeah.
It sounds like a pretty successful race then.
Yeah. I actually, one of my friends texted me like, "What's the goal for tomorrow?" This was on Saturday, and I said, "Sub 450 would be a good day." And so yeah, I'll send you that screenshot of the text just because it was like I barely got it, but I did it. So.
And what do you have coming next? What's next? I know you're doing Ironman California, correct?
Yep. Yeah. So that's going to be nothing planned, but I'm going to do something. Probably just a sprint or Olympic just to keep racing. Definitely not a 70.3 though, just because it was pretty hard training. But now I'm on my mid-season break. I sound like a pro athlete saying that. But yeah, just 2 weeks, just let my body and mental or body and brain recover. just because it's pretty hard training block for the last 5 months. I got a lot of gains both on the bike, run, and in the pool. So really proud of that. So I'm just gonna give my body a little break and then full gas to Ironman California, which I'm really excited for. Obviously.
Any other questions from Mike or Seid?
I'm excited to watch Ryan on the tracker at Ironman California with another downriver swim. You just seed yourself in the front, like I could
Yeah.
see, like low nines out of you.
Yeah, I mean that'd be sick. I think definitely just going in the nines would be cool. Like obviously a goal, but yeah, as low as possible for sure.
Like I know a kid who you would, let's see, on your 10 by 100s, you were doing them at like 110. Like
Yeah.
you could swim 30 seconds faster per 100 than this guy. And I would say like your bike and run are probably like relatively comparable. And he went like 9:10. Like
Oh wow.
I think it's in the cards for you at that race with if the swim is as
Yeah.
of a run as last year, like sub 9:30.
Yeah. Like that I think a sub 40 swim's definitely doable.
Yes.
With like out that much effort. So yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's the day before or the day after Kona for our age group. So there's gonna be like no fast people there, I think. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a couple, but
if you get a neat slot, will you take it?
Well, it's not confirmed Nice yet.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, it's not?
Could be Kona. You never know.
Oh, that'd be sick. Yeah. I mean,
or somewhere else in general,
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just depends on what I have going on. Because I'll be in like full gas for pilot school as well then. So we'll see.
Maybe Seid can jump in California.
Yeah.
How far? When is California?
October 27th. Are you going to Kona with Parker?
No, I'm not, or I don't think I am, but I have Maryland, September 21st, so I don't think I'll be recovered by then.
Yeah.
It'd be like just finishing recovery and then you'd send your body to shock again.
But yeah, so my goal for that race is to get top 5 in our age group, so I can get one of those plaques. That's like my life goal. And I think this year is the last year I'll have a shot at it, just because I age up next year. So going for that plaque, baby. So we'll see.
Awesome.
It's in the cards.
One more. Do you have do you use any other nutrition besides raw and salted watermelon goose?
Pink Himalayan sea salt from Costco, but yeah.
Right. There's our nutrition segment of the day. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for the episode. Anyone else got any questions, comments, or concerns for the one and only Mr. Ryan Cate? No.
When are you hitting 315 bench?
Yeah, when are you hitting?
Yeah. Hopefully by the end of. Gosh, I mean, I didn't lift at all like last week, so strength's down a little bit. I lifted this morning and felt decent. I didn't want to push it too hard, so I didn't. But yeah, hopefully by like mid-June. I did it with like super sore leg. Like there's a million excuses, but yeah, I tried it and failed it like 2 weeks ago. So that was not fun, but yeah, I felt super heavy, obviously. So yeah.
315 usually feels pretty heavy.
You're gonna get it before California, and then when you tell them size large shirt, they won't have any questions.
Yeah. So on this off season or my 2-week break, I'm just gonna be in the gym like every day, just fueled by that interaction. If you don't know, the volunteer at I'm in Chattanooga or 70.3 Chattanooga check-in. She asked me what shirt sizes I needed, and I said large because that's what I normally wear. And she was like, "Are you sure? Don't you think large is a little big?" I was like, yeah, it's pretty big, but yeah, I'll just take it. And then I said, are you calling me small? Uh, so yeah, got called small little beta boy. So can't be having that in the future. So definitely going to be adding a little bit of muscle, hopefully. But then it's going to go all the way for during Ironman prep. But it's the thought that counts right now. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And then after you bench 315, then you can finally get your squat up to at least 200.
Hey, it is. Yeah. No, I can definitely. Dude, my squat is terrible. It's like 250 maybe. I don't max squat just because you could injure yourself a lot easier than benching. I feel like is that common?
No, that's true.
Yeah. So
Seems to make sense.
yeah, but yeah, I can definitely bench more than I can squat, which I'm ashamed to say, but yeah.
It is
So,
what it is.
yeah, can't do too much about it right now. So.
All right. Well, I think Ryan's gonna go hit the squat rack. Mike's gonna finish his ride, and Seid's gonna finish eating whatever he's eating, blueberries.
No, fried rice.
Oh.
Some yummy chicken fried rice.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I'm gonna go on a walk with my mom.
Oh, and if you guys want to pick up any raw products, use code Ryan15 for 15% off.
Don't. Or you can use code NVDM and support the entire NVDM team.
Oh, really?
Lies.
All right. That's gonna wrap it up for today's episode.
And on that note, I'll see you guys
And
next time.
we'll talk. We'll get you guys back here next week for I'm sure some more entertaining content. So thanks again to Ryan for joining, and yeah, congratulations, Ryan. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Thanks
For having me. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Try Hard podcast. If you enjoyed it, we'd appreciate it if you could share with others and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can either DM us on Instagram, leave a comment on YouTube, or message us through the Spotify app. Lastly, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this week's episode, the Naperville Acupuncture Center. If you ever find yourself in the Chicagoland area and are dealing with some aches and pains, I cannot recommend Frank and Angela enough. They do an amazing job over there, and I promise you will leave feeling so much better. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you guys back here next week.